was always going to come out. He was going to come out worse too. So, you know, I feel like he showed a lot of heart tonight.
Did you have it before the stoppage?
I gave him 2 to 3 rounds. Yeah, I think 2 judges gave him 3 rounds, and 1 judge gave him 1 round, which I felt was a bit harsh. But that Benn was dominating.
What some of the undercard tonight?
Yeah, I mean, Akhmadaliev, fantastic. That's exactly how I want him to fight. I think he beats everybody at super bantamweight if he fights like that. You know, outside of obviously a Nuwe is a very tough fight, but Galaliafai, great punch output, and he saw tonight the levels he needs to get to. Peter McGrail, just a shocking knockout. You know, dominating the fight, and 1 punch changed everything, and a really good before the bell segment as well, and just a great night of boxing.
I wanted to ask you about McGrail because I was just typing, it was a masterclass performance, and the only question was, could O'Quinn survive? And then that happened.
It's just boxing, like, you know, he's such a brilliant skillster, you know, and he was punching hard tonight. He dropped him a couple of times, didn't lose a second of any round, and walked onto a right hand and got knocked clean out. I mean, that's the beauty of the sport. Switch off for 1 minute, and you make the mistake. So hopefully we can make the rematch, and he can get back on the horse.
I know I got here a little late, but what do you think it's going to take to get Devin Haney and Gervonta Davis to fight? There was reports that he turned down an offer.
Yeah, I don't know. There seems to be quite a bit of bad blood. That's why I came in and messaged him, just to try and get a little bit of, you know, I'm not really in the circle of butting heads at the moment with all those guys, but there is a huge amount of money for Gervonta Davis for that fight. So I just wanted to let him know. But unfortunately, he didn't want to know about it.
You know, Ryan, you know, also commented on Twitter. He said if that fight won't happen because Gervonta will probably put rehydration clause. If I'm not misquoting, and Devin and Ryan said, well, let's just jump into it. I'll fight you in March.
Yeah,
would that also be a possibility?
Yeah, I would love to fight, but I don't think, you know, look, Ryan and Oscar and all those guys are going to want an easier fight, and that's Rolly. So if they can get Rolly, then they're going to go with Rolly. But if they can't, they might fight Devin. But let's be honest, who really wants to fight Devin Haney? You know, I mean, that's why, you know, these sort of numbers of 20 million and stuff like that, if that's not going to dangle a carrot, you know, and everyone tries to put Devin Haney down. You get this bullshit stuff from people like Leonard Ellaby saying the fight did 50,000 buys. It ain't even worth responding to. But they want to set a narrative to try and dress it up that actually Devin hasn't got any value. He doesn't really, you know, he doesn't sell pay-per-views, he doesn't sell tickets. Then all of a sudden he sells out the Chase Centre, and they say, yeah, but tickets were only $60 up the top. Who gives a fuck? Like, you know, you should be embracing fights like that, not trying to put people down and talk yourself out of it. So, disappointing that Gervonta didn't want to talk about the fight.
Hey, did you get any kind of response from Tank? We saw that tweet.
Yeah, there's another message that he chose not to post.
Who's going to leak that, you or?
No, I don't leak DMs. Do you know what I mean? I feel like if you're reaching out to someone like a fighter to have a, you know, private business conversation, there's only 2 people who leak DMs: Adrian Broner and Tank Davis.
Fight fans kind of, you know, are targeting Gervonta, saying that he doesn't want the fight. What do you make of that?
I'm not sure. Gervonta's a fighter. I think Gervonta believes he can beat everybody, but I've been around long enough to know that when people don't like people say shit about people, it makes it a lot harder to make the fight. So obviously Bill, you know, Calvin Ford, is it, the trainer, and, you know, Leonard, and I'm just sitting back watching it going, fuck, I can't see this fight getting made at all.
Was there a guarantee? Was there a $20 million guarantee? We saw, you know, kind of quotes going around.
I believe there was a conversation between Bill and a member of the team, yeah, that I want to make an offer of, you know, probably more than that. But unfortunately, don't want to have the conversation.
You don't think that, you just said, you know, you don't think that fight's going to be made? You think it's
Not
just
yet.
because, not yet? I personally think, I don't think it made this year, maybe next year the latest, but you think it's because, you know, PBC
Well, this
go
year, we've only got 2 weeks left this year.
yeah, sorry, but
I don't think it'll happen this year either. No, but I think, you know, they're going to need those fights. But the problem is, I don't know, boxing's such a mad business where people just listen to people and, like, you know, really, like you saw tonight. I know it's flyweights, but how good is it when, like, you know, Devin next year could fight Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, and Gervonta Davis, and he would fight all of them. But someone wants 50 million, someone wants 20 million, someone, like, just open up the books and let the fighters have the money. But they don't want to do it like that. They want guarantees that don't exist.
So what's the most realistic opponent for Devin?
I think Ryan Garcia, but I'm not so sure he will fight him next. If he can't get rolling, I think he will. If not, you might see Devin go up to 147, fight Barros, fight Conor Benn, you know, and then see what's what.
I was a meeting with Golden Boy.
Jake
Paul's knockout last night.
Yeah, I mean, I think you might have beaten Andre August, but it's still an impressive knockout. You know, I mean, if he goes in there and, well, I think he looks like he's improving. I think he punches quite hard. But how that guy is 9 or 10 and 1. I mean,
if you were promoting him, who's the best next fight for him?
just someone he can be. I just keep going. I mean, look, he, you know, I doubt the numbers were spectacular last night. I doubt he made a lot of money, but he's now spinning the narrative that he's building his boxing career. That's cool. I respect that. So there may be someone who is a little bit more legitimate. Because if you want to start saying you actually want to win a world title, sooner or later you're going to fight someone in the top 15 of a governing body. Anybody at cruiserweight at top 15 will crush Jake Paul to pieces. But be fun to watch.
Eddie, given the enthusiastic crowd you've had in Phoenix when you've come here, and also the weather's a little nicer here right now than it is in England or New York City, could we expect you to keep coming here in the winter?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're always here once or twice a year. Great fight crowd, very knowledgeable. You Americans, you like to boo as well. Like, if one round's even average.
I don't represent all Americans.
No, but not all of them.
I'm just kidding.
You know, like even last week on the Haney show, not that fight, but like, you know, which is good because it's like G's the fighters up. So we've been here obviously for Chocolatito against Estrada. We came here back for Julio Cesar Chavez against Danny Jacobs. That was a
fun.
wild night. Yeah,
Yes, it was.
And actually, Estrada Bam could find itself here. I think this would be a good home.
Would that be the best place for this? We're given the straight
Possibly. I mean, obviously, you've got Bam's performance tonight, which will grow him here.
his second fight here.
Yeah, possibly San Antonio.
Do you think
but
Estrada would rather have a neutral location?
Probably, and I think he's boxed here before, so he
Yes,
might
he has.
like that. Yeah.
Speaking of neutral, the War Grounds, that was home for the Superfly series. I
Yeah.
think that'd be great to already know that we had that audience there. The Mexicans love that arena, but also those type of Superfly
Yeah,
fights.
I've
and
never
just
done a
the
show.
smaller guys, that'd be great.
I've had fighters fight there. Kell Brook won the world title there against Sean Porter. Scott Quigg boxed Oscar Valdez there. I've never promoted a fight there myself, and I've always wanted to promote there. So we'll see.
Eddie, can you touch bases again? You mentioned Conor Benn against Devin Haney. Is that it?
Yeah, just only like I saw it on social media, and Devin messaged me and said, "Give me Conor Benn." And I went, "Oh right, okay."
Is that
So-
a UK fight?
Yeah, I mean, it sells out a stadium in the UK, so that'd be a cool look for Devin to take that. But we'll see.
On this Sunday, real quick, the crowd responded to him, whether they
Yeah,
love him or
he
hate
deserves
him.
it. You know, I
Bring
mean,
him back to
I
the
said
US?
like, fighters shouldn't be afraid to lose or to gamble their own, because he could now headline back in the UK and be a much bigger name than he was previously. He could even fight a Mexican or an American over here and headline again. Do you know what I mean? So his face is a bit, you know, bashed up, but other than that, his stock really rose tonight. I thought he showed a lot of heart.
Based on the performance, you would be willing to bring him back to the
Yeah,
US?
but I think he'd fight in the UK next. But you know, a big night for him.
Last one for me, Munguia is going to be facing the
Ryder.
Ryder. I don't know why I said Dervichenko.
Yeah.
It's been a long night. It's been a long night. But then they're also mentioning how much truth is it that he could face Canelo in May or possibly
Yeah,
in
I
the
think
summer.
if he
Is
beats
it-
Ryder, I mean, he'll be looking to try and stop Ryder, I think, and then get the Canelo fight. I think John Ryder beats him, to be honest with you. It's a great fight, and back here, isn't it?
Yeah,
In
Phoenix,
Arizona,
yeah.
In February.
Matchroom just
See you then.
announced the return of Edgar Berlanga,
January.
but not against
January
an
26th.
opponent that fights want to see. What do you make of the critique?
Disagree. I mean, probably because they don't know what they're talking about. If you watch Pablo McCrory,
Like 4 days.
he's a knockout. He's a KO artist. He's top 10 in every governing body. He's number 3, I think, with the WBO. I mean, who else do you want to fight? You know, if you're not fighting Munguia, he's right up there. You know. Yeah, maybe, but I think that's a fight that could be built. You know, I think that's a risky fight for Pacheco and Berlanga. Diego's up for it, but you know, Diego's also a young prospect. I think that's a fight that can be built into a big fight in the middle end of 2024. But I like the fight. You know, I think it's a very, very, very dangerous fight for Berlanga.
What do you want to see from Edgar on fight night?
Just
Obviously, you know,
excitement, knockout. You've got to put a performance together that gets everybody talking. You know, his last one was a good win, but he needs to win aggressively and, you know, make a statement in that fight.
Eddie, as a promoter, how do you balance the line between getting the fight at the height of its peak without letting it marinate too long, where it kind of goes over the hill, or people don't
Very,
want to
very
see
difficult. That was like a rare example of you got two guys in their absolute prime. Well, actually, Bam's probably not in his prime yet, which is scary. but two guys, 23 and 27, 20 and 0 and 17, 0, 18 and 0. Like, very, very rare to get that. And normally when you got 1 and 2, you fight the other champions, and then you go, we'll keep both winning belts, and then we'll save that fight till the end. But these guys just went, yeah, let's do it.
Can we finally see Jesse carrying that ring belt?
I mean, where's the ring? Where's the ring? I mean,
Well, no, look, can you read this?
Yeah,
This is
I know,
what I
yeah.
picked up.
Yeah. I know you were on our side. Yeah.
If I was
Do
on
you know
the
what?
panel,
Yeah.
I'm not on the panel, but if I was on the panel,
Yeah.
then I would. That
Yeah.
should have been for the ring.
Yeah, of
title.
course. But the weird thing is like rules. Like the one argument where it didn't get the Ring Magazine belt was tell me Jesse's best wins at flyweight. I think that was like, and obviously he won the vacant belt against the number 1 in the WBO. But I just needs a bit of common sense sometimes in these things. Like there is not one person in the world other than Julio Cesar Martinez who doesn't think that those two are number 1 and 2. So therefore, and the beauty of the Ring Magazine is it doesn't have to put up with the bullshit politics of upsetting people because it's just a magazine. Yet somehow, this little magazine has the most prestigious belt, potentially, in the sport. But when it's a vacant belt, and it's not up, like, if it was like someone had the belt and then, I don't know, they were stripped or like whatever, but this was just like, is this 1v2? Yes. Is it 1v2? Yeah. So let's just do it. But anyway, it's a shame because it's such a beautiful belt, and this fight really deserved that belt. So.
I agree.
All right, guys. Cool. Last one.
Now that you've been in the business for a while with DAZN and streaming, now that PBC has joined Amazon Prime, what is your advice to them to be successful in their new endeavor? And do you think that they're going to be successful in their new endeavor, and if not, why?
I think they could promote a lot better. I think they make really good fights. I think they've got a nice brand. But I just wonder, like, who is actually promoting PBC? You're kind of reliant upon social media and your digital engines to promote, rather than, I know I talk a lot, but you really need someone out there, like, actually promoting these fights. I hate seeing press conferences when it's like someone who works for a TV company up at the presser asking questions rather than an actual promoter, and I don't do it because I've got a big ego, but it's not because I just want to hear my own voice. But that's my job, the showman, to say, right, this is what we got to, So I feel like they need to, without maybe the power of a bigger broadcaster like Fox or like Showtime, now they're going to be tested in that respect, because although Amazon's a big platform, I don't know how invested they're going to be in pushing that particular deal. I think it's a rev share deal, so when there is a pay-per-view event, I guess they will be, but on a consistent basis, I think it's going to be difficult to service all their fighters.
Was that the biggest problem they had over the last 5 or 6 years, is that they just didn't have enough big fights and perhaps too many pay-per-views?
No, it's just that the sport become too expensive.
Yeah.
So fighters are, on the whole, drastically overpaid. And I think overpaid sounds like a harsh word in boxing because it's such a tough sport. But the reality is the commercial value of a fighter is not being respected by us normally. We're just competing against everyone. How much does he want? Oh, okay, And the reality is you do a pay-per-view, or you look at the viewership, or you look at the ticket sales, and the numbers don't make sense. It's like people like Teofimo Lopez. What an incredible fighter. Wants 10 million a fight. How? They don't look at the numbers and go, oh, I understand. They go, I don't care what that says. That's what I want. So, but I think we've got to focus more on just making great fights rather than trying to keep a fighter. Because what happens is a fighter becomes so expensive, they'll take the right money for a shit fight. So you end up spending a load of money on a shit fight rather than maybe getting another fighter and actually making a great fight for the same amount of money. Tell you a fight I like at the moment, Subriel Matias, right? £140 IBF champion.
Yeah.
He'll fight anyone. And at the moment, he wants a lot of money, but it's enough money to watch that guy go in. He's a beast.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Killer.
And you pay up. Say you're making a fight for $2.5 million for Teofimo Lopez, or $3 million for Teofimo Lopez against some guy you've never ever heard of, and you put that on TV, or make Matias against another great fighter in a war. That's what we've got to focus on more, not just pandering to fighters who have a deluded perception of their commercial value, but overpaying fighters to be in wars. I think that's what we need to do.
Eddie, you mentioned him earlier. Diego Pacheco, you mentioned him last month in Inglewood. Any update for 2020?
Yeah, he's ready to get out in like the first quarter. So we need to get the right fight for him. Very, very exciting. Love to bring him back to LA. And like you said, I do think the Berlanga fight is there if he gets through McGrory. I think that's a massive fight for the middle end of 2024. Just need to keep building Diego, because people will use the excuse that I used earlier that he's not big enough name yet, he's not a big enough draw, but also translate to he's very dangerous.
And a contender.
Yeah, for sure. So we need to get him up there in the world rankings, make sure we keep building the crowds in Los Angeles, and make sure that if you fight him, you get a big payday as well.
With PBC going to Amazon, does it make it harder, easier, or indifferent for you to work across the aisle with them?
Whatever. They've never wanted to work across the aisle with anyone, so it's a complete waste of time.
Change anything?
All right. Cheers, everyone. Thank you.